your average person who's maybe just getting started. I think a lot of the listeners, they've heard real estate's a great investment. It's one of the best, things to hedge against inflation. And, anybody alive today knows that inflation can be a problem when you're on the wrong end of it. What type of things do you have for somebody who's maybe just getting started? They don't have a ton of capital, but they want to invest in real estate. They want to be on the right side of this. Inflation works for those who own assets, right? Real estate's an asset. What kind of advice do you have, or what kind of path are you helping lead people down when it comes to starting out?
Well, based on where they're at financially, what we can do, let's say they have different techniques. I mean, you've probably heard the BRRRR technique. So they, say they buy a duplex, they start there and they live in one side and then they rent out the other side to help, offset that mortgage payment. And so from that point on, as they grow and they grow their wealth, then they can rent out both sides and then maybe move into a single family home with their family if that's what they want to do, or add to their portfolio, or buy, either upgrade to a triplex or fourplex, or buy additional duplex. That could be a strategy. Or if they are a little more bold, then we can help them to invest in commercial multifamily. So multiple units, there's different ways to do that. They can own their own commercial multifamily property, or they can get involved in a syndication. So what we do is we teach just the basics on what that looks like. What is a syndication, first of all, right. And then how do you get involved in that? And what are the rules and criteria to be able to invest in something like that?
Okay. Yeah. I think that's something that, people hear all these terms thrown around, and real estate syndication, and, they see Grant Cardone or somebody else online. What's a real simple explanation for somebody to understand if they don't know what a real estate syndication is, and maybe even an example of one that you guys have been involved in?
So really, syndication is basically you have a team of people who are on this, same path. They pool their money together. They put it all together to take down a bigger project. So if you are taking down, let's say, a $2 million property, and it's maybe a 20 unit, $2 million, but you don't have $2 million, well, you can maybe bring in 10 or 15 people, and we usually don't have the pool that big, but let's say 5 to 10 people to all put in the money to take down that project.
Okay. Yeah. And I would imagine too, on some of them, you don't necessarily have to raise 2 million. You might raise 500,000 for a down payment and then have a loan attached to it.
Yeah. So we raise, usually for the down payment and or repair. So if we're looking at doing a rehab, doing what we call a value add, then we raise for the value add and also the down payment for the loan.
Okay. Yeah. And that's something that, for some people that maybe have a, 50, 60 hour a week job that they're like, hey, I don't have the time, effort, or energy, I just want to throw some money at it. That might be something for them. For a real estate investor who might be brand new, like the example you gave with the duplex, I think that's something that's really, tangible and attainable for most people. What type of education are you giving people around, buying a duplex, triplex, or fourplex? I know in my world, 4 units and down is residential. So that's the financing I do. Mm-hmm. What do you do to help people kind of, get themselves acclimated?
Yeah. I mean, I think what we really do is first we look at where they are financially. We help them run the numbers, make sure that they can, afford it. We send them to people like you, Matt, the mortgage guy, so you at least know what they qualify for, and then help them project the future, where, how this is going to grow and appreciate, and then what they can do with that money down the road.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think that, like, I can't preach it enough in a time where affordability is a big sticking point. Somebody's like, $3,000 a month, $3,500 a month. It's too much. I can't afford it. You start showing them, well, if you buy a triplex and you use FHA and put 3.5% down, your capital outlay is not that much. Even if you buy something for $600,000 or $700,000, 3.5% of that is obtainable for an investor who's new. And then when you look at that mortgage and you say, oh my gosh, $6,000, when you've got 2 people paying $2,500 a piece and your investment in it's only $1,000 a month, that looks a lot better than going out and buying a single family and, $3,500 a month payment that people are
Right.
afraid of.
So, so they're bringing in money and they're paying down their principal and they're making profit for themselves.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's something that, it's the dream for a lot. Instead of paying your landlord, you want to be the landlord. And,
Yes.
the things that people forget about is that property, like you said, the tenants are paying the rent, which pays your mortgage, which over time is going down. So every month, the principal amount that goes toward, you owe $660, then you owe $659, $658. And then on the other side of that is, an average that I've referenced in the past. The last 39 years in California, real estate has appreciated on average 6.9%. So $700,000 property that appreciates 7%. Quick math tells me that's $49,000 in 1 year.
Yep.
And then you've got the debt pay down, and then you've got the tax benefit. And so this is why, those of us that have been around real estate, we see the magic in it, and we say, it's possible. For anybody. I'd love if you got any stories too, because I think that helps people kind of imagine it's possible for me too.
So, I mean, I'll put it this way: I didn't know any of this stuff in my younger years, and I had to learn it in my older years, which was good. But I wish I could have just passed that on, or that's why I want to pass it on to people who are younger. But what I understand is when you look at the big picture of investing in real estate. So let's say, how should I say? So when I had someone teach me about real estate investing, it was interesting to feel like when I first looked at apartments, I was like, there's just no way. There's no way I can do this. And then as I kept getting more and more educated on it, I'm like, you know what? So-and-so did it, so I can do it too. And so then I connected with a group that helped me to invest and learn to raise money, hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to invest and take down a large property. So it can be done on either a small scale or a large scale, but the key is finding the right advisor or finding the right team to help you to do that. But then it can be done. And so, yes, I was able to do that with thinking initially that there's no way I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, the best part about it for people, if you're listening and you're like, man, this sounds interesting, the education is free, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's on YouTube, whether it's connecting with, Michael and his team at Time Capital, whether it's you find a mentor at a local real estate meetup, like all the education is out there for absolutely free.